In the cold and dark days of early January 1827, a group of brave men gathered in a small meeting hall in New York City. The United States was still a young nation, but slavery was entrenched in the South and racism was rampant even in the North. Black voices were excluded from political and social discussions, especially in the press. But that all changed on January 6th, when a group of free black men came together to lay the foundation for Freedom's Journal, the first African-American owned and operated newspaper in the United States. Hi everyone, welcome to this house. Today we are exploring the history of black newspapers and the legacy of Freedom's Journal. The idea for Freedom's Journal came from the mind of John Russwurm, a Haitian-American intellectual who had been thinking about how to uplift his community since he arrived in New York in 1821. 2 years later, he met Presbyterian minister Samuel Cornish at a conference in Philadelphia. They quickly became friends and began discussing the possibility of starting a newspaper to address the needs of African Americans. When they returned to New York, they reached out to other leaders of the black community to see if there was interest in such a project. On January 6, 1827, they met with fellow community leaders in a small room above a bookstore on 13th Street to finalize their plans. Minutes from the meeting reveal the depth of thought and care that went into the creation of what would become Freedom's Journal. During the meeting, they chose the paper's motto: "We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us." This motto revealed the central purpose of the paper and its potential impact. For centuries, white Americans had written about and discussed issues affecting African Americans without allowing black voices to be heard. Freedom's Journal would change that. They also discussed how the paper would challenge the racist portrayals of African Americans found in white-run publications. Other topics included what to include in the paper, such as news, religious articles, poetry, and education. The group wanted Freedom's Journal to be a source of pride for African Americans by celebrating African heritage and culture. They also planned to use the paper to advocate for abolition and civil rights. Finally, the group discussed the paper's finances and set the subscription price at $2 a year. Far less than the $10 it cost to subscribe to the New York Times or the National Gazette. While the cost of a yearly subscription may seem low today, it was actually quite expensive at the time. This tells us that those involved with Freedom's Journal were willing to make personal sacrifices to get the paper off the ground. Though quiet and unnoticed by most of the city that day, the meeting on January 6th helped spark a legacy of black journalism and advocacy that continues to this day. A few weeks after their planning meeting, Cornish and Russwurm published the first issue of Freedom's Journal on March 3, 1827. The paper was a success, selling out its initial run of 3,000 copies. Unfortunately, the partners eventually split due to a disagreement over the paper's direction. Cornish wanted to focus on religion, and Russwurm wanted to focus more on politics. Despite their split, both men continued to publish papers that focused on uplifting African Americans and their contributions to society. After Freedom's Journal ceased publication in 1829, several other black newspapers sprung up across the country, including the North Star, the Colored American, and the Chicago Defender. These newspapers provided a platform for African American voices and perspectives, which had been largely excluded from mainstream media. They also played an important role in the abolition of slavery and the civil rights movement. So while the building at 13th Street may no longer stand, and the names of many of the men involved in that fateful meeting have been lost to time, their actions on that day had a profound impact on the future of journalism and civil rights in America. Thank you all for watching. Bukati Production.